Hi, here we are. We're at the Easton Public Library, Ames Free Library actually, and we are at Books and Bloom. And this is sponsored by the Easton Garden Club, and several of our designers have taken a book that they have read, and they are matching the title of the book to a flower design in their interpretation of the title. So at first when we come in here, we have a thank you bouquet from the Easton Garden Club for the library having hosted us. And then if you'll follow me this way, you'll see our first interpretation with Gloria Freitas Steidinger. And she greets us with this beautiful bouquet just to get us into the mood. And certainly her designs get us into the mood. Now, while we are here in the children's room, we always love to have children involved with flowers and hopefully get them into a design mode so that they can understand how flower design works. This one here is done by Cindy Lemish. It's called The Secret Harbor. And if you notice the book itself has a picture of a boat inside on the front. And then over here, you can notice the design itself. It looks like a boat. It has the masts, and it has that little front thing in the front that was there. And this is kind of like the coloration of the front of the boat. So this is an awesome design by Cindy. This display is by Amy O'Shaughnessy, and this is interpreting the giving tree. And if you look at the Giving Tree's booklet, there's the giving tree itself, and there's an apple falling. So she's interpreted the apple falling with this chrysanthemum here. Oops, excuse me, that's a Gerber daisy, what am I saying? And these are all of the tree limbs supposedly up at the top, so that you can get an overall look at how the author of the, actually the author of the design interpreted the author of the book. This one here is by Joyce Russo, and the name of this book here is called Are You My Mother? And some of the interpretations in the book shows the red coloration on the mother's hat, and this is a bird of paradise, so that you're getting the correlation bird of paradise in the bird area and the tree area, and these are like the eggs in the yellow interpretation of the eggs in the bottom of the nest area. This is another cute one done by Karen Polisino. She is interpreting the day that the crayons quit. And if you look closely down here at the bottom, there's all broken crayons here, and then you see a multitude of, or a profusion of colors of the crayons here at the top. And as you can see, it's quite balanced and it's beautiful. This is the tale of Peter Rabbit. Notice we have the garden of Peter Rabbit, and we have some of the pictures of Peter here in the various areas, and little gourds into the area as well. So that we're also doing vegetables as well as floral arrangements for the interpretation of Peter Rabbit by Karen Cacciapudi. This one here is rather self-explanatory. It's spiders, and you can see the book is in oranges with this spider motif here, and there's a spider sticking on top of the book, and there's spiders in the, I think this is called protea, let me check. It's a pincushion protea, yes. And this is done by Sharon O'Leary, one of our garden members. Very nicely done. We must have been into spiders, but this is another one which is done by Pat Jacobson, here hanging on the back of the design. If you come in and look at it this way, you see the spider's web here with Charlotte there, and you can see the webby looking things in the garden that Charlotte lived in. There's sea oats, and there's chrysanthemums and snapdragons and machanthus grass. It makes a very beautiful arrangement for Charlotte's web. This is Gloria Freitas Steidinger's Cat in the Hat. The hat comes back, and she has her plant material here is dyed sedges and grasses, and this was from the Easton Foundry. The plant, they went out in the they rescued some of the old metal that was on the ground, and then they made it into something that simulated the cat in the hat. Very nicely done by Gloria. This one here is taking the pure sea glass motif, and this is done by Virginia Hart. And her plant material is hydrangeas, and her beautiful container is a vase of the bluish coloration, and she has the bluish hydrangeas and the whitish color that reflects the front of her piece. And she has all sea glass around the edges. We're back to Gloria again. Gloria Freda Steidinger. She has this book that is for display purposes, and this is called the Ringling Gibbons, the English Wood Carving Tradition. And she took the cover of this and she interpreted it in this particular thing of dried arrangements. And this is called the art of carving. Isn't this beautiful? All the browns and the different colorations. Yes. And then further along here, it's Gloria again, and she has taken this book, The Goblets of Fire, and we have the display material is Ming fern and fasciated willows. So she took the Ming fern and put fasciated willows on it, so that it looks like the goblets of fire with her little fire sparks coming out of it. Very nicely done, as usual, with Gloria. Isn't it pretty? And then over here, we have a cute arrangement. This is called The Gourmet Garden by Robin Caulfield. Robin, by the way, was the one who came to the club and had this great idea of having books in bloom. And she pursued it, and we all went along with it, and it was a great, great idea. It's been very, very well received by the library and by everyone that's visited. And here you can see the coloration of the gourmet part with the red peppers and the yellow peppers and the broccoli. And then we have, again, the beautiful accenting colors of the sunflowers, and mixed with the broccoli as well, and the little spade for the garden. Very nicely done. Coming into the adult area, we're supposed to be quiet, but they've given us special dispensation. This is done by Lisa Yora, and the name of this book is Paradise Park. And so she was interpreting the lady on the front cover, and she has done this in a mass of various things, hydrangeas and witch hazel and boxwood and moss and juniper. And it's very lovely. It's so much fun to see flowers interpreting the names of these booklets or books. This is Coppells Antiques and Collectibles. And here we have an antique. And this is done by Daria Cotta. And she has several other antiques in the area. And she has a profusion of sunflowers and, let's see, what else do we have on there? Chrysanthemums and sunflowers and hypericum and anemone and sedum. There we go, beautiful. This is Marsha Connor's interpretation of Under the Tuscan Sun, and you can see the greens and the Tuscan reds and oranges and yellows here of this interpretation, and we have some cat nine tails and so forth. Very pretty. This one is done by Anne-Marie Peters. It's called The Arsonist, and you can see the interpretation of the flowers and the burning of the flower coloration here, along with the yellow that she found in the booklet here, the book cover. So the blue, the yellows and the oranges interpret her burning sensation of the arsonist. Very nicely done. And this one is done by Nancy Ruggles, and this is called The Mystical Insight of the Great Gatsby. And this is her interpretation with the white coloration of the wheels and some of the black, darker spires coming up. Very nicely done. This is Sandy Madeiras' interpretation of the dark tide. Notice the darkness of all of these flowers and how they are still accenting one another, and they're very well balanced and so forth, and the lighter things come up towards the top. It's a beautiful vase that she has the container in, and it looks like a boating type of feeling when you see this, and it's so beautiful. This is called The Devil in the White City, done by Judy Tyler, and again you can see the whiteness and the darkness and the red of the carnations, there you go. And notice how beautifully it's arranged, and it's just showing the plant material beautifully. And it talks a little bit about the devil in the white city over here, and it's a nice interpretation. This is an underwater arrangement for no better name of a book than 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and this is done by Joyce Holsten. And she has to use plants that are going to be able to still live underwater. And she has orchids in 9-bark and a lot of words that I can't read. So, but she's a horticulturist from her tippity top to her bottom of her toes, so she knows what she's doing when she puts these together. Nice job on Joyce's part too. Everyone's doing such a wonderful job here. And this one here is done by Nancy White, and it's Gifts from the Sea. And you can see the coloration of the sea rolling through, and the seaweedish look of the flowers, and the various props from the sea that she used to give it this Gifts from the Sea. And this is Nancy White's interpretation. Very nicely done. And last but not least, this is mine. It's in the interpretation of Carol Higgins Clark's Hitched. And I was fortunate enough to have this bottom metal piece already done, and I just put in some. I originally had dahlias, but dahlias were very upset of being in such heat up here in the library, so I had to switch it at the end to carnations, and it kind of interprets the idea of a wedding centerpiece. So here, thanks for coming. If you didn't see it in person, these are what we had in the library. My apologies if we missed one, but I think we got everyone. Everyone did such a wonderful, wonderful job, and we love having you come and see these things. And it looks like it was so well received, we might have to do it again next year. So thanks for tuning in, and hope that you enjoyed the little program on flowers and interpretations of book titles. I'm Jeannie Ebert, signing out. Take care. Bye.